The northern lights danced across Alaska's winter sky, but Emma Mitchell's attention was fixed on the ground. 20 years of tracking everything from elk to grizzlies had taught her to read the story written in disturbed snow and broken branches. These tracks, however, told a story she couldn't decipher. "What kind of print is that, Miss Mitchell?" asked Marcus, one of her clients, crouching beside her with his expensive camera ready. Emma brushed away loose snow, revealing an impression nearly 2 feet long. "Nothing native to Alaska," she muttered, running her fingers along its edge. The print was deep at the front, with what looked like backward-facing hooks where toes should be. The stride length suggested something bipedal but massive. Her hand instinctively moved to the .338 Winchester Magnum slung across her back. After 3 tours with Marine Force Recon, Emma had developed a sixth sense for danger. Right now, it was screaming. "Everyone back to the lodge," she ordered, standing slowly. "Marcus, Jack, Sarah, stay tight, single file. Follow exactly in my footsteps." The wealthy photographers she'd been guiding protested. They paid good money to photograph the aurora. But something in her voice made them comply. As they retreated, Emma noticed how the ambient forest sounds had ceased. No owl calls, no rustle of voles beneath the snow, just silence and the ethereal curtain of green light above. They were halfway back when Marcus screamed. Emma spun, rifle already shouldered, but Marcus was gone. Where he'd stood seconds before, steam rose from a hole punched through 3 feet of snow. Droplets of fluorescent blue liquid spattered the white surface, glowing like toxic fireflies. "Run," Emma commanded, but her remaining clients were frozen in terror. Above them, something moved through the canopy of snow-laden pines, something big. A shadow dropped from the trees, sleek, armored, easily 8 feet tall. Its face was a nightmare of mandibles and gleaming eyes, body rippling with musculature that put grizzlies to shame. But what caught Emma's attention was the way it moved. A hunter's grace, absolutely silent despite its size. Emma's first shot caught it in the shoulder. The creature staggered, that strange blue blood spraying, but didn't fall. Her second round hit center mass, punching through what looked like technological armor. The thing roared, a sound that shook snow from branches, and charged. Emma tackled Sarah out of its path, rolled and fired again. The beast crashed through where they'd been, leaving deep gouges in the frozen ground. But now Emma had its measure. It was strong, fast, but moved in straight lines, like a predator used to prey that ran instead of fought back. "The lodge has a satellite phone," she shouted to Jack and Sarah. "Go. Call everyone. This isn't a bear, mountain lion, or anything else we've dealt with. Go." They ran. Emma provided covering fire, forcing the creature to dodge rather than pursue. More shadows moved through the trees. 3, maybe 4 more. She did the math. 5 rounds left, multiple hostiles, half a mile to the lodge. The first creature had recovered, circling her position. Emma read its movement pattern. It was hunting her, exactly as she'd hunt game. But there was one crucial difference. This thing had never faced prey that studied predator tactics. Emma fired once more, not to kill but to drive it in a specific direction. The beast took the bait, moving exactly where she predicted. She dug into her pocket, pulled out the small can of bear spray she'd never had to use, and waited. When the creature lunged, she was ready. The spray caught it directly in its cluster of eyes. It thrashed, screaming, giving her the opening to run. As she sprinted through the darkness, Emma's mind raced. The tracks, the hunting pattern, the advanced armor. They weren't dealing with undiscovered Alaska wildlife. Something had come to Earth to hunt, but they'd chosen the wrong planet, the wrong species, and definitely the wrong hunting guide to mess with. In orbit, High Hunter Khazar watched the feed from his fallen hunter's armor with growing intrigue. For the first time in 3 centuries of hunting across the galaxy, prey had not only fought back, but had done so with a predator's cunning. The hunt was about to become far more interesting than he'd anticipated. 3 days after the Alaska incident, Emma stood on her family's porch in Montana, watching emergency broadcasts on her phone. Similar attacks had been reported across remote areas: northern Canada, Siberia, the Australian outback. But now the Githrax, as they called themselves, were getting bolder. The sound of engines pulled her attention to the road. 3 pickup trucks rolled up her long driveway, loaded with locals she'd known her whole life. Frank Chen, who ran the hunting supply store; Maria Rodriguez, the local veterinarian and experienced tracker; the Williams brothers, whose family had ranched this land for generations. Saw something big moving through Johnson's Valley last night, Frank called out, unloading thermal scopes from his truck. Left tracks like those you described from Alaska. Emma nodded, checking her modified rifle. After her encounter, she'd adjusted her loads, adding powder for more penetrating power. They're coming here because they think we're easy prey. Small town, isolated location. Classic ambush predator thinking. Maria held up her tablet, showing thermal imaging from her drone. Got movement in the Northwoods. 3 heat signatures, bigger than anything native. They're setting up some kind of perimeter. Good, Emma said, surprising the others. Let them think they're the ones doing the hunting. She'd spent the last 3 days preparing. Trail cameras repositioned, subtle markers placed that only local hunters would recognize, and most importantly, a network of traditional hunting blinds converted into something more lethal. The Githrax might have advanced technology, but they'd never hunted anything that hunted back. The first alien made its move at dusk, attacking the Peterson farm. But Old Man Peterson had been a sniper in Vietnam. The Githrax's active camouflage meant nothing to a man who'd spent 50 years reading wind patterns and tracking white-tailed deer. The alien died to a single shot through its helmet's vision slit, its advanced armor useless against simple ballistic physics. 2 more tried to flank through the woods behind Emma's property. They triggered the trail cameras, which sent silent alerts to everyone's phones. The Williams brothers were waiting in elevated positions, using hunting techniques passed down through generations. Their first shots, perfectly synchronized, dropped 1 alien instantly. The second sprayed that fluorescent blood, but managed to cloak and retreat. They're adapting, Emma warned over the radio. Watch your backs. They'll try new tactics now. She was right. The next attack came from above, the aliens using some kind of jetpack technology to drop from the night sky. But Maria's drone caught their heat signatures, and Frank's thermal scopes lit them up like Christmas trees. 2 more of Githrax fell to coordinated fire. The dying alien's radio crackled with an alien voice, speaking perfect English. What manner of prey is this? They hunt like apex predators. Emma picked up the alien's communicator. We are apex predators. Humans didn't become Earth's dominant species by being prey. A new voice responded, deeper, commanding. High Hunter Khazar himself. Impressive, human. You've cost me 5 hunters. No species has ever done that. Then you should have done your research, Emma replied, tracking movement in her scope. The last wounded alien was trying to circle back, leaving a trail any child could follow. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We don't just run from predators. We chase them until they drop from exhaustion. Khazar's laughter rumbled through the communicator. Then perhaps we finally found worthy prey. Or worthy fellow hunters. You still don't get it, Emma said, lining up her shot as the wounded alien stumbled into view. We're not just hunters. We teach each other. We work together. Every human you kill makes the rest of us better at killing you. Her shot ended the last alien's suffering. 6 Githrax dead in one night, killed by simple farming folk using hunting skills passed down through generations. In orbit, High Hunter Khazar felt something he'd never experienced in centuries of hunting. Respect for his prey, mixed with the first tingles of fear. The game had changed. The greatest hunters in the galaxy had just discovered they weren't as apex as they thought. And this was only the beginning. Emma's video went viral overnight. How to hunt the hunters. Shot on her phone, it showed detailed analysis of Kithrak's behavior, thermal patterns, and weaknesses. Her methodical breakdown of alien hunting tactics, recorded while cleaning the salvaged alien armor, reached millions within hours. Their tech isn't magic, she explained, pointing to damaged sections of the alien combat suit. They rely on active camouflage and height advantage. But watch their footwork. They're ambush predators, not pursuit hunters. They don't expect prey to track them back to their lairs. The response was immediate and global. A Maasai warrior in Kenya posted footage of his tribe surrounding and taking down of Kithraks, using traditional lion hunting techniques. Australian Aboriginal trackers shared methods for spotting alien displacement patterns in desert sand. Each success built upon the last, humanity's collective hunting knowledge evolving at a pace that stunned the alien observers. Emma's phone buzzed, a secure military channel. Mitchell. General Harrison's voice was tense. We've got a situation in Yellowstone. Their hunters are using the geothermal features to mask their heat signatures. We've lost 3 ranger teams. Send me coordinates, Emma replied, already gearing up. And get me Chief Joseph's grandson from the Nez Perce Reservation. His people have been hunting those grounds for generations. 4 hours later, Emma lay prone beside David Yellowwolf, watching steam vents through a thermal scope. 3 rangers crouched nearby, their standard gear supplemented with traditional hunting tools David had brought. There, David whispered, pointing to a subtle disturbance in the steam patterns. They're good, but they don't understand the land's rhythm. The hot springs have their own heartbeat. They're disrupting it. Emma smiled. The aliens' advanced tech was being undone by knowledge passed down through thousands of years of human hunting experience. She keyed her radio. All teams, pattern 3, just like running buffalo in the old days. The rangers moved with practiced precision, herding the hidden aliens toward the deadliest hot springs. David began a low chant, not for mystical purposes, but to time their movements to the geyser's natural rhythm. The Kithraks, feeling pressured but still confident in their superior technology, never saw the trap until it was too late. Steam erupted from multiple vents simultaneously. The aliens' cloaking systems, confused by the sudden heat spike, malfunctioned. 3 Kithraks became visible, stumbling on unfamiliar terrain. Like spooking deer across ice, Emma muttered, squeezing her trigger. The shot caught the first alien in its leg joint, a weakness she'd identified from studying their armor. David's arrow, tipped with a synthetic polymer designed to penetrate alien metal, took down the second. The third Kithrax, realizing the danger, tried to activate its jetpack, but the sulfuric steam had corroded critical components. It managed only a short, erratic hop before crashing into a mudpot. The alien's death screech echoed across the geothermal basin. Upload the footage, Emma ordered, securing the area. Every detail. Show everyone how their tech fails in extreme environments. Show them how to use natural features as weapons. Within hours, similar strategies were being employed worldwide. Brazilian hunters used Amazon River rapids to disable alien electronics. Siberian trappers shared techniques for spotting cloaked hunters in snowstorms. Humanity's greatest strength was becoming clear. Not our technology, but our ability to learn, adapt, and share knowledge. In orbit, High Hunter Khazar watched with growing concern as his casualties mounted. His subordinate, young Hunter Vex, approached cautiously. The humans, they're teaching each other, Vex reported. Not just locally, but globally. Every encounter makes them stronger. They're turning our own hunting protocols against us. Khazar crushed the display panel in his massive hand. Then we must adapt as well. Deploy the alpha hunters. Show them what true apex predators can do. But as he gave the order, a new message flashed across his screen. Emma's face, calm and determined. We know you're watching. We know you're learning. But here's what you don't understand. Humans don't just adapt. We anticipate. You're alpha hunters. were already prepared for them. The game was evolving, and for the first time in Cathrax's history, the hunters were being hunted. The alpha hunters were magnificent and terrifying. Each stood 12 feet tall, their armor gleaming with an oily iridescence that made them look like living mercury. They landed outside Emma's Montana compound at midnight, their impact craters smoking in the summer grass. Finally, Emma whispered into her radio, "They're done playing around." She lay concealed in a specially modified hunting blind, surrounded by an array of sensors salvaged from fallen Cathrax gear. The data streamed to tablets and phones across the country, showing real-time analysis of the new threat. The first alpha hunter moved with impossible grace for its size, covering 50 yards in a single bound. Its helmet opened like a blooming metal flower, revealing rows of serrated teeth and clusters of compound eyes. This wasn't just a hunter, it was a living weapon, bred and augmented for one purpose. Size analysis confirms, Maria's voice crackled through the radio. They're 3 times larger than standard hunters. Energy readings are off the charts. Emma watched through her scope as the alpha hunters deployed, their movements precise and coordinated. But she noticed something else, something that made her smile. "They're leaving tracks like elephants," she transmitted. "All that mass has to go somewhere. Frank, you seeing this?" "Reading you," Frank replied from his position. "These big boys sink at least 6 inches into packed earth with each step. No way to hide that, no matter how good their cloaking is." The alpha hunters spread out, using textbook pack predator tactics. They thought they were herding their prey, forcing the humans to cluster in defensible positions. They didn't realize they were being herded themselves. Emma triggered the first trap, not a high-tech snare, but an ancient pit design used by indigenous tribes to catch megafauna, modified with modern materials. The lead alpha hunter crashed through the camouflaged cover, its mass working against it. The pit's walls, lined with salvaged alien metal, contained its thrashing form. Like taking down a T-Rex, Emma broadcast globally, knowing the footage would be shared instantly. Vigor isn't always better. They're stronger, but they're also heavier, louder, and leave clearer signs. Use that. The remaining alpha hunters roared in fury, their sound-dampening tech overwhelmed by sheer volume. They charged Emma's position, but the humans were ready. Coordinated fire from multiple angles, hunting rifles loaded with special ammunition designed to penetrate alien armor at its flex points, caught them in a crossfire. One alpha hunter stumbled, its leg armor shredded. Another took a direct hit to its helmet sensor array, blinding it. Their sophisticated tactics devolved into raw aggression, exactly what Emma had predicted. They're reverting to base instincts, she commented, for the benefit of hunters worldwide. Just like any predator when wounded and confused, they'll try to overwhelm with brute force. The alpha hunters charged together, their footfalls shaking the earth. Emma waited until the last possible moment before triggering her blind special modification. The structure collapsed, revealing not cowering prey, but a nested set of heavy weapons salvaged from fallen Cathrax ships. The alpha hunters realized too late they'd been caught in a kill box of their own making. Like hunting buffalo, Emma transmitted as she opened fire. "Let them think they're charging you, then use their momentum against them." The battle was brief but spectacular. When it ended, 4 alpha hunters lay dead or dying, their supposedly invincible armor proving vulnerable to careful study and coordinated human tactics. Emma approached the last surviving alpha, its breather mask damaged and leaking atmosphere. To her surprise, it laughed. A wet, rattling sound. "You were ready for us," it growled in fractured English. "Impossible. We are the apex. You're apex predators from a single evolutionary line," Emma corrected, recording everything for the Global Hunter Network. "Humans, we learned from every predator on Earth. We studied them all, learned their weaknesses, adapted their strengths. Your mistake was thinking bigger meant better." The alpha hunter's eyes dimmed, but Emma's message was already spreading. Across Earth, hunters were sharing techniques for taking down these new threats, The Vgathrax had played their trump card, only to find humans had already evolved past it. In orbit, High Hunter Khazar watched his elite forces fall. For the first time in his long life, he felt true fear. The hunters had become the hunted, and their prey was teaching the galaxy a new meaning of apex predator. The Vgathrax attack on Chicago began during rush hour. Hundreds of hunters materialized among the skyscrapers, expecting panic and chaos. Instead, they found a city that had been waiting for them. Emma watched from the 47th floor of Willis Tower, surrounded by an unlikely team. Parkour athletes, urban explorers, and former Special Forces operators. "They think cities are our weakness," she said, checking the feed from microdrones circulating through the urban canyons. "They don't understand that concrete jungles are just another hunting ground." The first alien hunter crashed through a window 20 floors below, expecting to find helpless office workers. Instead, it met Tracy Chen, 3-time urban freestyle champion, who moved through the cluttered office like water. The aliens' programmed combat patterns, designed for open spaces, were useless against her fluid movements. "They can't predict what they don't understand." Tracy's voice crackled over the comm as she vaulted over a cubicle wall, leading the hunter into a prepared kill zone. Their armor may be advanced, but their movements are predictable. The hunter died to coordinated fire from 3 different angles. Its perfect ambush turned into a perfect trap. Similar scenes played out across the city as the Vgathrax discovered that every alley, every subway tunnel, and every rooftop had been turned into a hunting ground. "Multiple contacts entering the L train system," reported Mike O'Brien, former tunnel rat in Vietnam. "They think they can use the darkness against us." Emma smiled grimly. "Show them why that's a mistake." The underground battle was swift and brutal. The aliens' thermal vision, designed for tracking heat signatures in open terrain, was overwhelmed by the complex heat patterns of the subway system. Steam pipes, electrical conduits, and the residual warmth of passing trains created a blinding maze of thermal noise. O'Brien's team, using old-school tunnel fighting techniques combined with modern tech, eliminated an entire hunting party without firing a shot. Ancient human hunting techniques, tripwires, deadfalls, and simple snares, proved devastatingly effective against overconfident alien predators. Above ground, the battle shifted to the rooftops. The Vgathrax deployed their jetpacks, expecting to dominate the high ground. Instead, they found themselves facing humans who treated the vertical city like a 3D chessboard, just like climbing rocks in Yosemite, called out Sarah Rodriguez, professional climber turned urban defender, as she led 3 hunters into a maze of maintenance scaffolding. The aliens' bulky armor and reliance on technology became a liability in the tight spaces between buildings. Emma coordinated it all from her command post, watching the city transform into a massive trap. "Remember," she broadcast to all channels, "they're used to hunting prey that runs. Show them how humans hunt in 3 dimensions." The turning point came when the Vgathrax tried to use Chicago's famous river as a staging ground. They didn't expect the network of police boats, tourist ferries, and fishing vessels to be crewed by experienced lake hunters who'd been tracking fish through these waters for decades. "Water conduct's sound," Emma reminded her teams as the river erupted in coordinated chaos. "Their stealth tech can't hide their movement ripples." High Hunter Khazar, watching from orbit, saw his forces being systematically decimated in an environment he'd thought would favor his hunters. His voice boomed across all frequencies. "How? How do you turn every environment into your hunting ground?" Emma keyed her mic, her voice calm but fierce with pride. "Because we never stopped being hunters, Khazar. We built our cities, but we never forgot how to stalk prey in any terrain. Your hunters learn one way. We learn them all." As night fell over Chicago, the remaining Vgathrax forces retreated in disarray. The city had claimed over 200 alien hunters, with minimal human casualties. More importantly, it had proved that humanity's adaptability wasn't limited to wilderness environments. "Send the footage to every major city," Emma ordered. Show them how we did it. Next time they hit an urban center, we'll be even better prepared. In orbit, Khazar watched the humans sharing tactical data, adaptation strategies, and urban hunting techniques across the globe. His greatest fear was becoming reality. With each failed attack, humanity wasn't just surviving. They were evolving. Emma stood in the control room of a captured Githrax hunting lodge, studying their sacred hunting texts displayed on alien holoscreens. The facility, hidden in the Rocky Mountains, had fallen to a combined force of local hunters and military specialists. But it was what they found inside that changed everything. "Look at this," she called to Maria, who was examining alien medical equipment. "Their entire society is built around hunting protocols, rigid rules, specific hierarchies. They'd been doing it the same way for thousands of years. And that's their weakness," Maria replied, looking up from her work. "They never had to evolve, never had to adapt." A young Githrax, barely adolescent by their standards, lay wounded but conscious on an examination table. Unlike the others, this one had surrendered, fascinated by how humans hunted. Emma had been interrogating it, learning more about their culture. "Your people," the young alien, who called itself Vexkar, spoke through a translator. "You hunt differently. You respect the prey, honor the environment. Our elders never taught us this." Emma nodded, remembering her grandfather's lessons about ethical hunting. "Because we learned the hard way what happens when you don't. Overhunting nearly destroyed many Earth species. We had to learn balance." The facility's communications array crackled to life. High Hunter Khazar's voice boomed through the speakers, but something was different. He sounded desperate. "You dare steal our knowledge, corrupt our young. This ends now. I declare Kreftel, the hunt of final blood. No rules, no protocols. Earth burns." Emma smiled grimly. "He's finally breaking his own sacred codes. Vexkar, what happens when a High Hunter violates the protocols?" The young alien's eyes widened. It is forbidden. The young hunters will cannot follow one who breaks the ancient ways." As if confirming this, new signals began flooding the communication channels. Young Githrax hunters across the globe were standing down, refusing orders. Some were actively turning against their elders, sharing tactical data with humans. "Your hunt of final blood has another effect, Khazar," Emma broadcast back. "You just lost the loyalty of your future generations. They see what you can't. That humanity's way of hunting might ensure their species' survival." The response was a roar of rage, followed by the launch signatures of thousands of drop pods. Khazar was coming with everything he had left. Protocol be damned. Emma quickly coordinated with her global network. "He's becoming what he fears most, mindless prey acting on instinct. All units, execute Protocol Thunderbird." Across Earth, human hunters implemented strategies they'd been preparing for weeks. The remaining Githrax elders, abandoning their careful hunting patterns in their rage, fell into trap after trap. Young aliens like Vexkar provided crucial intelligence about their elders' tactics and technology. "Watch," Emma told Vexkar, pointing to tactical displays. "This is how humans hunt. We adapt, we learn, we teach others, even our enemies, if they're willing to learn." The young alien watched in awe as human hunting techniques from every culture on Earth were deployed simultaneously. Aboriginal hunters in Australia used songlines to coordinate massive traps. Inuit hunters in Greenland exploited their knowledge of ice and pressure ridges. African trackers turned the Sahara into a deadly maze. "Your people," Vexkar observed, "they hunt like the entire planet is one organism working together." "Because that's how we survived," Emma explained, coordinating another successful ambush. "No human hunter succeeds alone. We share, we learn, we grow. That's what your elders forgot. True apex predators don't just kill. They understand their place in the greater cycle." By moonrise, the tide had turned definitively. Khazar's forces, scattered and broken, were being methodically eliminated by combined human-Thrax hunting parties. The younger aliens, freed from their rigid protocols, were learning and adapting alongside their former prey. Emma received reports of Kithrax elders surrendering across the globe, many asking to learn human hunting techniques. The Great Human Hunt had become something unprecedented, a revolution in how an entire species thought about predator and prey. Tomorrow, she told Vexcar, we'll teach you how to track without technology. But first, we need to deal with your High Hunter. He's coming here, to Montana, and we'll show him the deadliest human hunting technique of all: patience. High Hunter Khazar's drop pod crashed into the Montana wilderness like a meteor, leaving a trail of burning trees in its wake. The massive alien emerged, his armor now a twisted hybrid of multiple hunting suits, cobbled together in desperation. He'd lost everything: his fleet, his hunters, his honor, all because of one human female. Emma watched through her grandfather's old hunting scope as Khazar began his hunt. The alien leader had disabled his own tracking beacon, abandoned his support systems. This was personal now. He's hunting old school. She whispered into her radio, knowing millions were watching through hidden cameras. No tech, no backup, just predator versus prey. She paused. Except he's forgotten which is which. The first trap was subtle, tracks leading toward her family's cabin. Khazar found them immediately, his mandibles clicking in triumph. But Emma had spent decades learning from every hunter she'd ever met. The tracks were perfect, too perfect. The thing about human hunters, Emma broadcast globally, knowing Khazar would hear, is that we understand deception. Real tracks have flaws. Khazar realized the trap too late. The ground beneath him dissolved, not into a pit, but into a carefully constructed maze of underground tunnels. Designed courtesy of Vietnamese tunnel fighters, improved by modern mining engineers. Confused, Emma's voice echoed through the tunnels. You're used to hunting in straight lines. Humans, we think in 3 dimensions. The alien leader crashed through tunnel walls, his massive form working against him in the tight spaces. Every turn led to another choice, another uncertainty. Emma had turned the underground complex into a psychological weapon. Your kind hunts by overwhelming force, she continued, her voice seeming to come from everywhere and nowhere. We learn to hunt by understanding, reading the environment, respecting it. Khazar finally burst from the tunnel system, his armor caked with mud, his breathing heavy. He'd emerged exactly where Emma had planned, the high meadow where she'd learned to hunt with her father. The same meadow where, decades ago, she'd learned the most important lesson about hunting. You know what makes humans different? She called out, her voice carried by carefully placed speakers. We can choose not to kill. We can look at worthy prey and decide, this one deserves to live. The alien spun, trying to locate her. His thermal vision was useless. Emma had spent days preparing the meadow, placing heat sources that matched human signatures. Every rock, every tree, could hide his tormentor. Your young hunters understand, Emma continued. That's why they turned against you. They saw that your way leads to extinction. Ours leads to evolution. Khazar roared in frustration, firing his weapons wildly. Each shot was answered by return fire from hidden positions, not killing shots, but precise hits that gradually stripped away his augmented armor. You wanted to know if humans were worthy prey. Emma's voice took on an edge of steel. We're not prey at all. We're what happens when prey species get tired of running and learn to hunt their hunters. The alien leader, now down to his base armor, made his final mistake. He charged toward what he thought was Emma's voice. Instead, he found himself facing a semicircle of hunters, human and young Thrax together. Emma stood at their center, her grandfather's rifle aimed at Khazar's head. I could kill you, she said quietly. Everyone watching knows it. Your own young hunters know it. But instead, I'm going to teach you your final lesson about human hunting. She lowered her rifle. We know when to end the hunt. Khazar stood frozen, his alien mind struggling to comprehend. In all his centuries of hunting, no prey had ever shown mercy. No prey had ever had the power to choose. "Your choice now," Emma declared. "Die here, proving everything we believe about your kind's inability to evolve. Or surrender and learn why Earth's greatest predator became its greatest protector." A high hunter, leader of the galaxy's most feared hunting species, faced the ultimate challenge to his species' philosophy. In this moment, before millions of watching eyes, he had to decide: remain an apex predator or become something more. Slowly, deliberately, Khazar set down his weapons. The hunt was over. The learning was about to begin. 1 year after Khazar's surrender, Emma stood before a mixed class of human and Fithrak students at the newly established Interspecies Hunting Academy in Yellowstone. The former High Hunter sat among them, his once fearsome armor replaced with simple adaptive gear designed for Earth's atmosphere. "The greatest hunters," Emma began, "aren't those who kill the most prey. They're the ones who understand their role in the greater ecosystem." She gestured to the stunning wilderness beyond the classroom's windows. This landscape was nearly destroyed by human overhunting once. We learned. We adapted. Now, it's your turn. Khazar raised his massive hand, a gesture that still made some humans nervous. "We have studied your hunting protocols extensively. But there is one concept we still struggle to understand: conservation." Emma smiled. This had become her favorite teaching moment. "Let's take a field trip." The class moved outside, where a herd of elk grazed peacefully. Young Fithrax hunters, their armor modified with Earth-based camouflage, watched intently. "We could kill them all," Emma explained. "We have the technology, the skill, the opportunity." But what happens then? No more elk, no more hunt, no more balance. True apex predators understand this. Vexkar, now a leading advocate for hunting reform among his people, stepped forward. "Our species spent millennia proving we could kill anything. Humans spent millennia learning why we shouldn't." The revolution in Fithrak society had been profound. Their hunting lodges across the galaxy were being transformed into conservation centers. Their technology, once used purely for killing, now helped track and protect endangered species on countless worlds. Earth's defense forces report another rogue hunting fleet approaching the Kuiper Belt. Maria's voice came through Emma's communicator. But this time, it's not Cathrax. Khazar's mandibles clicked in recognition. The Hizarakath, scavenger hunters. They lack even our old protocols. "Perfect teaching opportunity," Emma replied. "Show me what you've learned." The response was impressive. Human Cathrax joint teams deployed across the globe, not as adversaries, but as partners. The young aliens had embraced Earth's hunting traditions with extraordinary enthusiasm, combining their advanced technology with human wisdom. The Hizarakath never stood a chance. Their crude hunting methods were met with sophisticated traps and strategies evolved from a year of combined human-Cathrax innovation. Most surrendered after their first encounters, astonished by hunters who could track them through any terrain, predict their movements, and disable their ships without killing a single crew member. "You see," Emma told her class later, displaying footage of the brief conflict, "Earth didn't just teach the Cathrax new hunting methods. The Cathrax taught us how to apply our skills across the galaxy. Together, we've become something entirely new." The proof was in the numbers. Under the new Earth-Cathrax Conservation Treaty, endangered species populations across 1,000 worlds were rebounding. Former hunting grounds had become sanctuaries where predator and prey existed in careful balance. Even Khazar had found a new calling, teaching young hunters about the importance of restraint and understanding. "We came to Earth believing we were the galaxy's ultimate hunters," Khazar addressed the class. "We were wrong. True hunting isn't about killing. It's about understanding, about becoming part of the great dance between predator and prey, life and death, taking and giving back." Emma watched her unlikely students, human hunters learning about alien ecosystems, Fithrax youth practicing Earth tracking methods, all of them working together to forge a new tradition of ethical hunting across the stars. The greatest hunt, she concluded, isn't for prey at all. It's for knowledge, for understanding, for balance. That's what makes humans different. That's what made the Fithrax change. And that's what will transform hunting across the galaxy. Outside, the Montana sunset painted the sky in brilliant colors. A young Fithrax and a human student tracked elk together, not to kill, but to learn. Their different forms moved in perfect harmony, predators who had chosen to be protectors. The hunters had evolved, and the galaxy would never be the same.